Buzzfeed was wish casting so hard on this story, but before coming out with that statement, they should have checked into his troubled past of making up sources. Goes all the way back to the Bush administration and his work then. His problems were so bad, even the Columbia Journalism Review, recognized and respected, once accused Leopold of being a fabulist. One of the targets of his shoddy reporting, former George W. Bush advisor Karl Rove sounded off earlier today to my colleague Dana Perino.
Jason Leopold wrote a story for Buzzfeed saying that I had been indicted by a grand jury. He recreated a tearful moment in the Oval Office in which I told President Bush I was about ready to be indicted, said that I told members of the White House staff that I was going to soon be indicted, and all heck broke loose. It was simply not true. There was not a element of truth in it, either as to the indictment, to the grand jury, to the meeting with the president, you name it.
Now, here's a guy I trust in media, and he's here to break it down for us. Media reporter and columnist for The Hill, Joe Concha. Joe, clickbait is what I'm calling it. Where does Buzzfeed go from this? It's a huge blow. Or is it a huge blow?
Yeah, David, I don't see how they get up from the 10 count off the mat, to use a boxing term, because not only now do you have the special counsel who never has weighed in on any news report up until now, refuting this story. But even Ronan Farrow said, yeah, I thought about going down this road, but given the source that BuzzFeed appeared to have used here, I walked away from the story. Then even the New York Times said that their sources tell them that Donald Trump never instructed Michael Cohen to lie in this situation. So it really is falling apart at this point. You know what the tell was for me, David? Early today, and you played the clip before, where you had Anthony Cormier, who is a solid reporter by all accounts, telling CNN that he didn't see the damning evidence that was used in the story. And then you have Jason Leopold on MSNBC telling Hallie Jackson that, oh, no, we've seen the evidence. In other words, the two reporters on it saw it. So somebody is lying here, obviously, and now it's all falling apart. And look, another tell as well. Law enforcement officials in the story said they were involved in an investigation, as was pointed out by Anthony McCarthy earlier on Tucker Carlson's show, meaning maybe not the Russian investigation, but some other investigation. To Kimberly's point, we don't know who these law enforcement officials are. Are they at the top of the ring? Are they outside the loop? We don't know. So again, it's a matter of being first instead of accurate and treating gossip as gospel. And now here we are once again, one of the biggest black eyes that we've seen in journalism. And this reminds me a lot, David, of the Michael Flynn story by then ABC News reporter, investigative reporter Brian Ross, using one source saying that Donald Trump during the campaign had directed Flynn to reach out to the Russians. Brian Ross is no longer with ABC. Boy, this feels a lot like that, David.
Yeah, but Joe, it keeps repeating, and over the years you've talked about this. We've covered these issues across the spectrum, and it keeps happening. So is there a lesson not being learned here, or is this really so badly aligned against Donald Trump that they will put anything out there knowing that they will feed the beast?
Well, that's the thing. Whenever these mistakes are made, they always seem to go in one direction, don't they, David? They're always negative towards this administration. You never see any positive mistakes, for instance, being made about the Trump administration or this president. I'll leave you with this. Axios and SurveyMonkey, 65% in this poll said that fake news is usually reported because, quote, people have an agenda. That's what the American people think. 2 out of 3 think that fake news is reported because people have an agenda. 3% think it happens just by accident. So the public perception of media, not just Republicans, but the American people in general, outside of the rabid partisans, think that the news reporters are not only just making mistakes and being sloppy, but actually have an agenda and are making things up. It's incredible. And by the way, David, congratulations to you, by the way, to getting the guest hosting spot tonight, despite being the benefit of white privilege. I mean, I think that's remarkable that here you are sitting here as a beneficiary of white privilege.
By the way, for the record, Joe was one of the first people to hear that story when that happened on my show. I know you got a call from our mutual friend, Dave. We'll see what they do with it, Joe. Always good to talk to you.